Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Shmuel Reichman. I'm a lucky husband, I'm an inspirational speaker, I'm a writer, I'm in smicha, and I'm also a relationship coach. And welcome back to this inspiring dating series where we delve into some of the most foundational, fundamental, and profound principles when it comes to building ideal relationships, but also from a more practical perspective as well, and how to actually live this and make this your reality. Not just the ideas, but how to actually make them real. So we've already developed, number one, the principle of chayecha kodmen. How no matter how much you want to build an ideal relationship, you have to first start by building yourself. Because a relationship expands outwards, and if you don't have anything to build or invest, the relationship won't be that much. Number two, we talked about the power and importance of building an empowering and strong identity. That you are who you think you are, and until you build a strong, empowering identity, you can't then expand outwards and build anything of substance, because you're going to be afraid to actually build something real, because you don't believe in yourself, you don't think you're capable, you don't think that you're anything worth building a relationship with. Number three is this week's topic is the starting point. Because whenever you want to build something real or ideal, you have to know your end point. You have to know where you're heading towards. As we say every Friday evening in L'Chadodi, Sof Ma'aseh Machshavat Tchila. Before you can build something, it has to first originate in your thoughts. The Maisa, the actual physical component, the physical actuality that comes into expression, needs to originate in your thoughts. And before you build something ideal or anything real, you have to first know what you're trying to build. You have to have the end point, the goal, a clear goal, which is the mashal I like to use, the analogy, is let's say you have an archer who's the best archer in the world. He can hit any target. No matter how far away, he can hit it. But if you blindfold him, and then you turn around a couple times, he won't be able to hit the target because he doesn't know where it is. And no matter who you are, if you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, you won't be able to accomplish it. So the first step is really understanding what we're trying to build when it comes to a relationship. And the biggest mistake that I see, and the biggest mistake that there is when people think that a relationship is all about what's in it for me. Taking, receiving. Most people make this crucial mistake where they think that relationships are about receiving. They make a list of everything they want. The guy that they want, the girl that they want, and all they do is they expect that to be what the relationship is. They have these dreams, these fantasies about receiving all these nice things in a relationship, and it's like a business deal. Okay, in order for me to receive it, I have to give this. But when their own desires, when they're not satisfied, they call it quits, because that's what the relationship is to them. It's like a business deal. But an ideal relationship is one of giving, where you give your time, your energy, your love, your affection, your money, your life. You give your very essence and self to someone, and you expand outwards and give yourself to someone. And the reason for this is both practical and fundamental. Number one is that we emulate Hashem. Hashem is a giver. Hashem created the world. He gave us life. We don't deserve to exist. We don't deserve to be alive. And many of us have all of these expectancies. We feel like we deserve this, we deserve that. Why aren't I getting this? But if you realize that at root, we don't deserve to be alive, that life itself is a gift, we can have so much of gratitude to the fact that we're alive, because Hashem is constantly giving us life. But from a slightly more fundamental perspective, the very root of building a loving relationship comes from giving, because the only way you can love someone is if you give to them. Rav Dessler explains beautifully that naturally we're all selfish. We only love ourselves, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You only experience your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own life. How can you actually love someone else? Like really love them, like care about them like you care about yourself. Like when you're hungry, you think about if they're hungry. Like you actually love them. That's basically impossible, isn't it? The only way you can love someone is by giving to them. Because by giving, you actually expand your sense of self to include them. Just think about all the things you love. You love all the projects you've worked on. You love any of the, like something you wrote, an idea you created, a work of art you composed or crafted. Why? Because those are deep expressions of yourself, and you love yourself, so you love expressions of yourself. When you give yourself into someone, you love them, because then you see a piece of yourself within them. which is why parents always love their children more than children love their parents, because parents literally give their entire selves into the children. Beyond the genetics and the DNA, they give their time, their love, their energy, their money. They give so much of themselves into their children, and they love them. More so than children can ever love their parents. So, if you want to see this in a little interesting facet, the whole purpose of love, of relationship, is expanding your sense of self outwards to create this genuine oneness. And ahava, the word for love in Hebrew, is the same gematria as echad, which means one. And the very root shoresh of ahava is hav, which means to give. So the root of ahava is giving. And the biggest problem that people face in relationships is that we focus so much on receiving and not enough on giving. And this principle is actually found in the very root of our Masorah, very root of Judaism. You don't find any rights or receiving when it comes to being a Jew. A Jew is all about chiyuv. It's about mitzvah. It's about obligation. But it's not because it's all about, restriction and this kind of imposing force on requiring you to give. It's that giving represents an ideology of responsibility, of contribution, because a life of purpose is a life of contribution, and a loving relationship is a relationship of giving.